of the last split of last year.
I see at least a start now, a 1-3-1 at the beginning for TSM, where the spike is even moving up on middle solo at first, as they're finally grouping up using both initiators to try to engage Timotino into the split over on this B side. So they have to make this noise so that GMG can get behind enemy lines from the front of that B side.
Yeah, a squeeze that you have to give yourself away for, and Exter once again able to just flash off of himself and turn it into Envy's own squeeze. Inspire finds the timing and gets a double kill. Exter the double assist, and the decoy has to be shot by GMD. That's a part of Exter's kit that he hasn't really gotten to shine on until the latter matches of this tournament, and that's been, in my particular opinion, the best part of his kit is that decoy usage. But GMD has so much else to work against in that fight too. It'll be a very clean bonus taken by him.
Towards Inspired's position. That said, though, Exter found a perfect timing. He engages right now, forces the players to try to trade off against him, and look how instantly Inspire reacts to support for the backlines, not only for trades, but also
keep it contained. Envy, once again, play patient, play respectful, and Kane, as the smoke fades, will give himself away for the 1-for-1. Bora now down to quite the shred, so Envy try and find excuses to get active, but you're still able to poke at heaven so consistently with a lack of back hall presence that TSM can still play a decent chunk of keep away.
30 seconds left.
Bora and Timo both so low, and the spike's still not planted. Inspire able to get this lurk fully active now that he's checked damn near everywhere else on this map. But Bora looks like he's keen to it. Doesn't win the fight, though. And that will likely settle this, as TSM have to kind of flip this on its head in order to gain any more headway in the fight. Timo, keen to Inspire swing on that flank, so now you just have one angle to worry about. GMD finds the upstairs, but Exter is quicker to the blow and keeps one rifle stable for Envy tying things up.
a close matchup too. You saw that Envy were trying to delay as much as they could on Heaven so that Inspire could start activating on his lurk. Did get the backstab and it was able to take down Vora.
Tossing that recon may have dissuaded any of the flashing to just go for the flood, and he's right! He's found 7 on the entry. He swings out again and finds a second. He's gone insane off this operator before the rest of Envy gets here. Unrecognizable.
You gotta probably save at this point unless you're able to do a hero play, but dude, popping with the operator, and it's just his position that is so good. They went for the drone instead for Vora so they could try to go for a tag in a Hunter's Fury within the site somewhere. So it just holds the angle where he's not really going to get discovered by the main site of the A site. You're creating false presence. He finds the timing as the knife gets thrown, peeks out, and look at all these peeks he's getting. They were still desperately trying to find and get that scan towards that back of the site. Util in hand for the side of TSM, and Poppin just has an easy 4K with the operator. Because remember, we talked about how aggression was so good for Envy in the past. Now they're playing a little bit more turtled up, a little bit more reactionary, and the ops are hitting.
And then you can condition that overusage of util to enter in because you don't know how empty the threat on the site itself is. And that's letting Envy just cradle these entrances even more. Poppin's not even the only one with a sniper anymore, but he'll still be the one to find the frag with it. Exter picking that rifle back up, and Envy cleaning house quickly on this A site. This is already a fantastic start to the defensive mental game for Envy. They've allowed for so many
pulse plants, or even once they set foot into the site, to just be wary of these early pushes out from Envy instead of these split retakes.
Wow, Alvin Boy, after his barrel was caught, recommitted to the swing in the mid, and Kane's arrow on his lurk ended up losing that fight. So while Envy have the read on the B, still a 5v4. Inspire with the early catch though, and that's a crucial bit of Envy's defense thus far, keeping it sequential. Inspire finding a second on top of his cage is so efficient with the usage of just like shrouding this entire space. Up to 3 now, just on the field. And Envy, they'll press the narrative a little bit, try and get Inspire in for number 4. Instead, Poppin is just gonna do some poppin' things. It's 5-2 now, holding on to this operator, holding on to all the space they need. The turtle is starting to come out of its shell a little bit, Vance.
And the crazy part is that Poppin is flanking with the operator when Asova is also very useful for reconning for the retake onto the sites. But it comes to show as well that the change of the Vice onto the Cypher. Look at that vertical trip that's placed by Inspire from the top of the railing above the site down to the ground. Just a pure counter to the positioning of a jet dash on that spot. When you think, for example, a double dive of Whaley and Yoru, Whaley could still pivot towards that side, but at least she could get away. That jet's just going to get slingshotted in a spot. Poppin's just going to have to wait. They do have a dimensional drift to retake with. Yeah, darkness is a bit. But here's the info being taken. Nice cancel with the null command at least to not allow more util to come through with it.
I mean, Poppin is just a walking operator at this point. One sight line is locked down. The rest Envy are just going to try and get their tendrils into. 7 on the null command is gone. Hunter's Fury on top of this spike, but they're starting to walk it down, and Bora doesn't have any more bodyguards left. Kainzera has thwarted all of them, and he's on the route to that. Sova 2, 3 for the Jet, and 7 cannot do a thing while crawling. It's down to Alvin Boy from the link, and Kainzera clears him 2 for sport. 4 for that Jet, and that comfort pick is looking more and more comforting.
Yeah, and Kainzera is happy now that he's able to find that action, because if he stays quiet and they keep avoiding him, he's not going to be able to drop that 120 kills in a series that he wants in this grand finals of Ascension.
He's got
for him to push down, exactly, he's made up for it. But you can also see the counter that you have. The dimensional drift is not affected by the null command, so Extra still has full value, falling and throwing that flash, catching the KO off guard. 7 falls, and that just allows the rest of the team to steamroll into the site. He is going to try to drone first, maybe try to find the camera, break that up at the same time, and then you will start executing towards A. This is the same type of style that Envy did on the attack versus TSM the last time they played, that Envy was able to win 13-4. Is this going to work? Is Envy going to fall into the same trap? So far, we've made into the site, and they're not really biting for Envy.
Oh, popping off the recon, still holding onto that one shot. And now a flash in just to try and get the reset. Envy just doesn't care. It's all coming up their way. Eggster's flash, once again, just nabbing him 2 A's before he can even blink. And Vora, I mean, 45 seconds on the clock. The round is said and done. The tempo is amped. TSM util dumped. They did everything, and they still got God.
And Poppin, did he get a kill through the smoke assisting Ion? That is just an insane shot that he had from heaven towards that back of the site. So right now, there are multiple things that seems to be to put TSM running into a wall every time they're trying to go for these exits. Again, we talk about the chaos of these fights from Envy, not really giving a chance for TSM to set up to even get the spike plant down in these moments. That's layer number 1. The other one is just Poppin's unstoppable with this operator, and they're putting him so far Envy at the right places at the right time. And either he's opting backside, top heaven, or even B side, he is still getting so much value within the operator. Funny enough, right now though, he switched out to a rifle, probably just trying to throw it away or something. Okay, no, he's having fun.
Yeah, he's just having a great time.
Yeah,
he's here for a good time.
I mean, during the walkouts, he was so zen walking through, just thinking that he's got this in the bag. Yeah, and while we have a little bit of a garbage time, I just wanted to chuckle a little bit more about the Poppin jumping out of the map. He threw out his little cell phone, and it had discipline as a tagline under his name. And there he is jumping off the map with a 7-2 lead that they just got here against TSM, thinking like, okay, well, you think that TSM looks prepared. They didn't know how to anti-NB because they've already played against each other the last time in the upper finals in the BO3 that resulted in his victory for Envy. The Poppin is just vibing, and he doesn't really care about what weapons he carries because, again, he could do no wrong with how he's shooting so far as the IGL for this team on defense.
That's how Envy carries themselves, and that's how Envy are able to carry things out. And this could be a short day.
Down B. 10 seconds left.
We got just a tad bit more garbage time for 7 to play around. On a mad dash. Hey, free rifle.
Right. You got it.
Let's go.
I was like, why don't you jump out of the map? Why don't you grab an orb? Why don't you try to get something to move within the round? It looks like he just wanted to potentially just die.
Maintaining that confidence is everything. It's the conversation that Envy had so many times that we're able to put them a leg above TSM in that winners finals. TSM need to have that mobilized, and there's not too many pockets on this map to do it. Eggster toying with this cyber cage as the mid-entry is really Kainzera. And that'll deal with Alvin Boy out the gate here. TSM again have to pump up the gas on the A entry, and Poppin is still hanging out here, able to skirt away too before Timo fully blusters through. But again, Envy are already here to meet it, already ready to fight. 7 turning to it, but sandwiched, and the spike is left on truly an island. Timo having to escape this slowly. Tough start. Inspire's able to snag it. And one more pocket gone here on Abyss for TSM to get themselves heated up.
And TSM has pivoted correctly towards the A site right after.
Yeah, this is a really solid juke considering how expansive Abyss is. And Envy has also negated their ability to have any mid extension, so they have to kind of slow clear that too, if not all 5 members of TSM have been spotted. Exter hold up in heaven here. This is such a nasty spot, and he'll come away with 1 before getting felled. Poppin able to escape, as the Cypher ulti will confirm no flankers for Envy's side. Poppin with that Hunter's Fury can get Kane Zera upstairs quickly, and Poppin's just gonna get 2 with his ulti anyway. He doesn't even need the help. Oh, but he's gonna get it. Kane Zera giving his body to the problem as Timotino has been cornered away and has to fight his way through the pack. It's a 10-2 from Envy, folks. They are up, they are awake, they are ready to win.
And this is where it becomes important. We talked about it before. The same scenario as the first half. They still have a great buy going into their bonus, but they got flushed by Envy. Envy had probably, what, a flawless four players alive at the end of that round. Now they tried to go for a trap play with a TP with a pop flash, and Nexter was already ready for that, playing anti and getting that pick. And it seems like we have potentially the same story that's going to continue here in the second half.
Yeah, just trying to find a pressure point to interrupt. But instead, yeah, Envy's ahead of all of it. And who else but Kane to be the first man to speak after that spike goes down. That round's over in an instant, and Envy are continuing to just work with their strengths. These rifle rounds look so endlessly formidable. And they just will need 2 more to seal this first map.
I was going to say jump off the map. But now giving your life away, the headshot at least, but no kills. I was just about to mention just how aggressive Kane has been.
Popped.
Oh my.
Oh, Vora catches Ion with the Hunter's Fury, and TSM trying to go for the scrap here. Exter with the pop out of the Dimensional Drift, catches the 2 early infringers with that Judge. Vora, early cutoff, out of bullets though, and so it's a 3v2. Envy's way on the A site. TSM trying to meet it early. Kane Zera trying to find a head as he's on such low HP. The recon bolt catching out Kane Zera's next kill. Timo with a 1v2, and Poppin's got his number. Almost the kill on his own, but down to 50 HP apiece. And Inspire still full, loaded, set up. Timo so much to breach, but he found Poppin. Inspire though,
the lurk.
What does he do? What does he do best?
Attack.
And he gets Envy over the line at the very last moment to take their first map pick of Abyss.
What a way to end the first map.
Looks like we're gonna be slow walking up to it. No, perfectly swung. And TSM has that first meet. Now it's the blowout from elbow, and Timotino is up and kicking. Exter able to get there early, and he's the only one available after Timotino continues to just blister through. But that Sage now coming into play. 7 able to placate with that slow orb single-handedly and get the spike down for free.
That's the bread and butter, sorry, of TSM on these XX. Having Timotino as the tip of the spear, and when you get into the sites, all that counter utility from the Sage, just not allowing you to flood back into the site. So TSM's in a great position in this post plant.
GMD just barely missed out on. Exter still escapes with his 3rd after finding 7, and now GMD doing his dance against 2. Inspire! Burning that down 2, and Envy. So now Exter, the only ultimate on the table this round. And it seems like TSM is going to negate the use for it by just walking up these steps. Perfect crunch that Ion gets all of the connection on. And now you have 2 ults on the table if you're Envy.
Just missing that full wide swing too, so it became an easy lineup for Ion, sorry, to pick up. So unfortunate. I think, again, the game plan is trying to go for that mid control to see what would the reaction be for Envy after you break that door. But just very clean shots coming through here from Kane at the top. Gets one through the smoke. Shindy has no choice now but to go for a 1 versus X on a team deathmatch win.
They've set up a couple clears to make mid a little spooky, so Kane has to take his sweet time in trying to go for that backstab. He's still gonna outrun them because he's on Neon. On that Bucky though, he doesn't get a clean first shot. Bora has to take 2 to go down, but Kane is still unloaded and unfettered. TSM have no proper response to this Neon as he blisters his way onto the site, and he might just be all Envy has and needs this round. GMD stands alone in the 1v2, 1v1, Kane saves it! The Bucky bookends the round for the star of Envy. A 4K for the Neon and a recovery round for Envy.
You're trying to make that play. Another Sheriff will.
Extras rings true.
You will not kill my
Envy could be very motivated to set up the trap. A lot of sprays to hold down the res, but Poppin will get his own Sheriff think to turn this right back to a 4v4. Kane
That's
does not
huge.
have the Bucky. He does have the Sheriff, and he finds two! He finds the collapse! Onto the approach! Ion, the distraction dance is not enough to keep them from refragging onto Kane, but it's a 2v2 regardless. Now that Bucky goaded out by Alvin, do you dare approach this, or do you dare go into another place where you lack the intel?
Res of the Sage tried to bait out some more shots. It did bait out some players. They swung out. Look at these collapse. I mean, how does he get two there?
Unreal. It's pretty crucial. Kane's era comes up basically completely empty. I mean, not a shot landed onto Alvin Boy that time around. That is a really tough break. But again, Envy just amp up the gas. And with the paranoia sent in to show for extra down to the tiles, he will come away with 7 before getting out scot-free. But of course he doesn't actually get out. He's not sticking that TP. He's sticking around and comes up with 3 total. Now it's Inspire's turn to play close, and TSM is surely prepped. No! Envy meet the threat head on, head first, head early, and it's 4-8 on the half. As the door has not been closed, but Alvin Boy has not given himself away to it, wants to wait for that proximity. Instead, it'll be top mid that's first met. Eggster once again letting the clone fly first and swinging purely off of that. I swear, he's so good at finding that cross-section of time and positioning where it's like you know that it's time to fight, you know that it's a good time for the order to enter, but it's still that time for the clone, and then it simultaneously will still get that flash that is necessary. Just such good usage of what was, for such a long time, practically trivial utility.
And that's the study from Poppin. Kane was mentioned during the interview. During these moments, Poppin is always in a practice room, VOD reviewing, trying to figure out where he could find gaps and allow Envy to get some good value here in these rounds. The setup that you have from TSM, they set up the trip towards the quad so they could find passive information for a lot of these teams that would like to slam towards that back of the spawn. So as they walk up and they don't hear the trip, they would expect somebody playing on that right side of the staircase, and they do play that trip set up towards that left. So Eggster, as you just mentioned, the reason why he finds so much value off that clone is he hugs so tight into the wall so that as soon as the first step comes through, you think it's going to be a peek. So you shoot the clone and you swing right away from Eggster to be able to get that pick and that win on the top of the defense of that top right side. So that's a nice little gap that's been studied here, not probably only from Inspire, but all from Stunner, the coach. And it allowed here Envy to have a very, very clean round on their gun round.
To get Envy all the tools they need to carry this half out on their terms. Already toying with top mid, already kind of begging for the door on market to be a little more punishable. Really asking TSM where they are going to end up trying to spread their util, where they're going to try and condition Envy.
It's be main fast. Already breaking the trip. This has to be a full exit. Paranoia is already being vested into it. Alvin Boy has to come up with at least one. Gets 0.
Jump from Eggster. Envy's B-hopping their way through B site. And that Rabbit's Foot's going to keep him active and stable in the 5v3 despite the once again shoddy health pool. Kane's era just giving his bones and muscles to every push. Swear he comes away like a tattered cloth every time it comes down to the post plant. And that'll reign true on the crunches in Boba and Market. Timo with the blast pack just to try to placate against this cage, but it's so hard to do when Envy has all of this space set up. 7 with the barrier gets him a quick visage to make it a 1v1, but Ion quickly nips that in the bud. And it's once again Envy's round.
So you're hoping your anchors to come up strong, and they are.
What? Inspire! He's allowed everything now! That's a bit of a crucial whiff from 7, can't lie. Good collapse on top of the neural theft. Bad shots to try to revenge kill after Timotino falls. And the cage placement by Inspire. A microcosm given to Kane and Eggster to light the rest of the playing field up. Say goodbye to your last rifle round in a row, TSM. Envy have the playing field. Shots to try to revenge kill after Timotino falls. And the cage placement by Inspire. A microcosm given to Kane and Eggster to light the rest of the playing field up. Say goodbye to your last rifle round in a row, TSM. Envy have the playing field.
And that's Inspire too, not only finding timing, but a confidence as well for the team. Now he feels that he has a good control here of the attack side. Instantly, you just saw from the player cams that that Poppin is being very vocal. I think he's adding into the look. We're working these rounds very quickly. It's working out in our favor. We are finding every single timing and every single gap. Because remember, a walk up on mid and that pick that they had on the right side 2 rounds ago, then a full B pop within 20 seconds of the round. This time a swing on the A side. It's been very quick for the last 3. So you're forcing TSM's hand to be a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more stacky on sites right now, which gives a gap on middle for them to retake and to open up now.
Just not allowing a moment to breathe, and that suffocation will continue as Envy try to completely drown out this B site once more. Alvin Boy set up historically close to this on top of the camera, still sticking on the steps, and Envy read it so easily. Kane, as always, that frontliner trying to just do as much damage in the pre-plan as possible, but TSM slightly mobilized with the Sheriffs before all is said and done, and that round is once again wrapped up lickety-split. They want as few questions asked as possible until they tie things up here, Vance.
Against Thinking Mustache. Or Thinking something Sideshow Man, something like that. What is it, chat in Sideshow's watch party?
Well, we've got at least one more round, as Envy has been able to, pull this site like saltwater taffy. Instantly able to just negotiate that lean after the early mid presence. I mean, Kane making such a bloody amount of noise that TSM is already so like bottlenosed onto those mid stairs. The rotation of B is going to be clunky no matter what, and they
training that out against Kane is going to be a huge start for them. But the bigger start is GMD winning that 1v1 against Inspire, nullifying even a neural theft into the round.
You respect the lurk play from Inspire, daring to walk down that slow orb and go for such an early poke, but that just means the bear is all the more pissed on the other side. TSM have the stack and the up into free zones. Eggster gives himself away. 3v5 for Envy's margin. Hoppin blows through. Kainzera exit from the smoke. It's a complete bluster on Boba. Kainzera comes up with it all. And Envy flipped around on its head in an instant. GMD, so much to course back through, and Kane has the operator now.
Kane with the slider, man. Kane with the slider into the spawn, slides into the home plate, and drops even the showstopper prepped up by Timotino. They were never ready for that. As all of these rounds have been the chaos of Envy into these sites, into these post plants. Rare that we see Envy play to that style to disrespect the spawn. Spiro plays on the spawn and running through that smoke, that flick on Timotino.
Gotta get to 120 kills somehow. Let's just keep this party going. As Kane, yet again, first to act, first to activate. Back on this rifle. And is hungry. TSM fully playing for 12-11 by the looks of it. Gonna try and get away with some easy stuff, but Kane laughing in their face. You dare come at me with something like this? Thinking you can hold a candle. Envy will go to 24 as TSM did in the previous round, no doubt. The Sheriffs continuing to do some decent damage, but it's already too far gone. Envy is set up. Popping with the early Hunter's Fury just to clear the board and gets a double tap onto the link with it. But Seven understanding that that could be the go button, goes for the spray down, gets that early pick onto Eggster. Envy, seeing that as the moment they have to make their way into sight, and Kainzera begging to snake up to Link, begging to get that extra space, but the recon dart is going to guarantee that position. Begs forward the overdrive, and Kainzera only good for one that time. The crowd meets him, and Seven's res available to make this a 5v3. Do they have enough? That shock dart done so much damage, and Ion and Poppin spray into the fray. Alvin Boy, back from the back hole. Could be the linchpin to restabilize for TSM. Vora finds the bullet, tracing on Ion, spray through the smoke. And it's a 2v1 that Inspire has to save post-ultimate. But he finds Vora dancing through the smoke. Alvin Boy's held the spike to half. The ulti on top. Inspire met by Alvin Boy. And it's 13-11 the other way on TSM's own pick. We're tied up at 1.
What a series that we have in front of our eyes so far. Dominating half.
There's a reason TSM decided to start off with this attack. They want to overwhelm the team that lives to overwhelm. Extra stuck up in the showers. And TP's out before getting punished. And Ion with the crunch. What a marvelous trap setup in the bathroom that lets it just be down on Timotino on the entry. Has picked that spike back up, but the position is beyond obvious. And Envy lay waste on the pistol.
You can already see that the studying is there and what they're trying to do when punishing for these A-site hits. The Prowler clears out towards the U-Haul, so you fall back, and then you have very similar pathing to a Ray's satchel into the back of the APC. This time, it's a much aggressive dive that you have with the Waylay that allows for them to open up with the Kane Zero. But as they try to flood back at the showers, what a beautiful crossfire setup into that spot. It was red, it was studied to try to take him down, but the firepower is still too good. They're just trying to see for our Envy side if they are going to go for these overextensions, trying to grab some ore control on their side too. So they kind of had the cavalry and the firing squad to cover up towards that showers. As it quiets down, they have to make the move. They'll walk into the jiggle peaks of Poppin and just try to salvage this orb again.
Quick entry from 7. Off the blind side. Poppin will just go flash for flash. Not dip into the hall, though. Fearful of what he may meet. Rewind out from Timo to try and get a second frag into the saturate. Vor is eventually able to clear it, but it just requires so many resources, so much dedication with just the pistols in your hand. Alvin Boy once again on that proxy senti, gonna have to make some waves in these mid rounds to make sure that the rest of this high-flying comp gets a lot of pressure. Of course, again, pistol round, nothing doing this time around. So Envy up 2-0 on the defense.
We look at that setup.
Yeah, that's nasty.
30 seconds left.
Always love seeing where Inspire's decided to set up shop. So creative. He's got such a myriad of ideas for where these trap wires should be set up. And again, it's purely to play for connection. It's to play for optimization so that it actually gets connection and isn't just something in your way that needs to be burned. And there you go. That's proc. Inspire gets a kill onto Alvin Boy and can now get even closer to the issue. Kane Zera does get cut short by GMD as Lambs has been found out, but yeah, there's no time to plant the spike. Envy can just stay away from the holes and TSM is forced to relent.
With 6 seconds left too, you saw that we felt rushed. Vor walked in, ran into the site just to try to get a plant on triple. He runs into a trip, and not only that, there's a camera there. And they're finding beautiful timings off the anticipated sprays of the swings of both 7 and Timotino. TSM has to rethink a little bit better now on how they could really try to muster up and take down these aggressive lines here from the defense.
Feels like a lot of it just has to be the raw contact. 7 and Timo have to make their way on somehow, and with absolutely nothing in the tank and breaching your way through a toxic screen, you can't come away with much. Still, though, GMD manifests and beckons the stack to deal with him.
And what better than a dash into the site and you're getting hit by a trip again? It's so annoying to play.
Sees on the lamps. Timo sees that as the go button to let that emergent pass fly. That does catch Kane. Oh, but he's not seen! He's not checked! Everybody from Envy forgiven and given free passage. Are we flawless this round, chat? Are you kidding me?
That is a backbreaker on the positioning of Kane. And again, you see now why he was playing these positions on Sunset, why he didn't get value for 2 of them, because he was, again, trigger disciplined to try to get these picks. And this time, he gets so much value out of it. And not only that, he has the crossfire set up from Exer, who's not affected by the Waylay ult. And that just checkmates TSM's hit into this A site. Oh, dude, now you have Hail Marys and haymakers being thrown by the side of TSM, and he still can get into a site for a plant. Envy continuing to look super solid on the defensive halves, despite the compositional change from TSM.
Yeah, this is looking as unshakable as Envy's previous tenures on Bind.
And sorry, Tarek, just wanted to add too, there was a missed timing as well, because when that C's actually did hit Kane Zera and he popped their ult, by that time they swung towards that back of the site, they can't see the tether anymore. So they have to make sure now, this time around, when they're going for these hits, that they really have to check every single corner right now because of Kane Zera's positioning.
It's just, like you said, too many backbreakers, too many foolproof fallbacks for Envy to rely on. And so TSM once again have to use bodies for intel here. They will suss it out. Inspire held in the back, and he just doesn't care. Spraying through the lamps, and he has all the purchase he needs. Rest of Envy once again here to play, and we're just back to the previous round, except TSM have worse guns and way worse morale. Alvin Boy takes a century seemingly to even land that last shot onto Inspire, and it's near flawless once more.
That was just very surprising of what happened on the exit for the side of TSM. Granted, it is an eco round that you have for the TSM side, but just as we mentioned before, they needed to find ways to break these trips. Not only did they throw Prowler, they threw a Prowler in the lines, they threw a clone in the lines, and it never broke it. Yet you still get another person trapped in there trying to scale up. And not only that, you also have the spike scaling towards the back. And at that eco round, you're just trying to get a plant spike down at the very least. That was just unfortunately not well seen.
Well, Ion tucked out early by just running it down on the pit, and that's a good first door stop dealt with. Is this the round where Envy gets too braggadocious and lets flow their game plan? Cainzera haven't used the not dead yet to try to keep this fight contentious. We'll use it to open up Eggster from the backstab in the corner. Cainzera back up and kicking, and we'll just run it down one more time. Cainzera does not let that second life go to waste. And Envy have given Brazil their glory this game. It's 7-1. Eggster gifted a second opportunity, and so a second flash must be thrown into the fray. Double cage to fully shroud him out and give Inspire a solo. And that'll get him to TSM. Have to re-up. TP once again crunch. They throw a snake bite all the way to that back hall as well, so TSM can at least scope out the B site itself, but the condensation is beginning. Popping on top of the cabbages. That will at least get him a couple steps in, and the rest of Envy activated. But Timo with the quick refrag leads this to a 2v2 on top of the spike plant. Does Vora hold as Timo plays police? Vora with just this sheriff in hand, and Timotino has been spotted. Spike heard. Ion has the key to both of these players' positioning and already found the rifle off of it. Vora, a mountain against a molehill, and it's easy for Ion. Envy keep too stable. It's the closest it's been seemingly so far, and yet it's still miles ahead for Envy.
Agreed. And it almost looked like Vora maybe, who was so good in that. Now you're starting to see it's under the trip. The Prowler went under it.
And Inspire above the boxes finds 7, susses out the clone. He knows Yoru all too well. And in the meanwhile, that Ditto will also be able to find one of the Lone Rangers in the hookah as well. Before a complete recommitment for Envy. The TP away, Poppin already making his way down sand. Envy live to own this map now. They so quickly encroach and make it impossible for you to even have another decision. Choice paralysis plaguing TSM's attack side that they chose to start on, that they have been seemingly workshopping all this time, and yet it seems that the weakness in the map pool still persists unless TSM has one hell of a defensive half of their own.
That's all we hope, probably, yeah. But if not, I just love how Envy's playing this map so far. Just how good the reads are from Inspire to place the trips at the right places for these early rounds, instantly punishing this hookah control that TSM was trying to take, not even allowing Vora to save his weapon onto the next round, putting TSM back into a mixed bags of tricks into their next rifle round. I think one of them is going to be broke, so
7 has to try and pierce this, force Eggster with the TP back to negate the trap setup, but now he's just going to dry peek it. And that clearing has been watched since the dawn of time by Envy's defense. Now you set up Poppin once again with the free op channel, and so TSM got to reaggress hookah again, find something somewhere there. Otherwise, this B exec is so cooked. You can see it from a mile away.
Face your fear!
Nightfall on the execution. 7 will walk up. Pop with the collab through Garden! And it's already over in one fell swoop! GMD meets chaos, which reigns on this defensive half by Envy. 10-2.
And Poppin just made it back from that previous round. Yeah, I missed 2 shots the previous round. Let me just get 2 for 1 this round here. And it nullifies, neuters the execution of TSM trying to get value off the pit over on that B site. That said, they went into an exit where Envy had a good read one more time. 4 players stacked inside that site. A trip to support the Clove into U-Haul with an Odin most likely. But they are at a stalemate for TSM. They could move forward, and hopefully they could turn it around on the second half. But before we get there, Melio's back on the stage with Winthrop's own moves.
Gain enough space, or if Poppin can't really activate anybody, then you lose so much momentum the other way.
Yeah, and I had to fact check myself. It's even shorter. It's 13.5 seconds for the close
yeah.
so even shorter. So they're already both down. Here's the cell coming out from the ult of the Waylay.
Yeah, double TP from TSM, and it's instantly met. Holy! Nobody Nobody from TSM finding their shots. What is this? Kane, even on the ultimate, is able to keep kicking for a hot minute. 7 all of a sudden by himself. The crunch play was loud and proud, but came up with absolutely nothing. Envy turning right around and destroying that attempt.
This is the second time that we get a convergence path that does get value. It does stall some players, but we're not checking our corner. You have time for Inspire to whiff shots with a Bucky, switch over to a Phantom, and still headshot the second player swinging through while you're being stunned, and somehow he's still alive. That's the crazy part about this, for how you're able to hold off that flood exec from TSM. And again, this is the problem as well that kind of ensues, and that was talked about a bit at the desk when they said here they've been banning this for such a—
just hold on to this eco for dear life and try to stop as much of the openers as you can.
I've got your trail.
The dog with the gate crash will allow Envy pretty easy access in, but the decoy has to guarantee that complete lack of an op in the shower so Envy can fully take over. Now even the Seekers, to fully contest Timatino and open up the A site, Envy has to use a lot, but it's what works. GMD hold up in Kane. Zera's smoke, and he sprays through down for 2 before Envy can counteract. Still though, Envy do have that front line of the site, and TSM choose to try and get close first. Timo, a missed window with the up, and Exter turns to Vora. The recovery from Envy is insane. Trapwire on the land's destroyed. Exter mid-ultimate. Inspire finding 7 in the meantime. Alvin Boy having to avoid this Yoru ulti and then dip into the fray, but already making all the noise and getting hit by that gate crash. He is completely circled. Envy find their footing and dominate again to make it 12-6.
They're looking for a trap play. They're looking for aggression through the smoke, and to get it through the smoke.
Massive haunt found early by Vora, but that doesn't mean you get anything for the rest of this push. That doesn't matter though, really. It's Envy. They're gonna make it known. GMD catching Poppins jump. Inspire and Kane though able to find their frontline frags. Next checkpoint set up, and it's 7 in the cubby who can now let that decoy and TP fly to reposition and continue to stall out this B site.
And that's a very good move by him. After these 2 picks, forces a bit of util to fall back so he could ult into the retake. But that's how you play it. Just rush through as soon as you hear the Yoru, push through the smoke, get the pick, and it's only Timotino left.
How do they meet that crowd so well? Inspire just jumping right in front. And now Timo has to use everything just to get on the site and figure out the lineups. But as the smoke fades, the crowd conquers, and Envy have another dominant bind performance. They are 1 map away from a spot in VCT.
And the first dominant map of this series, as it was so close in the first 2, but Envy comes out full swing in his 3rd map, trumping the ace cards that was being thrown on the table by the side of TSM. They beat them with a 3 of a kind, maybe even a full house, because everybody was activated on the side of Envy just by great defensive plays on their side.
You want to find that prey and collapse onto it. The nades to sequence the initial push. Smoke to stop the next part of it. Inspire unchecked on the logs, gets away with 2. TSM, the rest of the pack fight has to be real, and they will hold it down. 7 already without that healing orb, had to use it on himself to get him back up to an equal bit compared to the rest of TSM, so it's almost a full-fledged 3v2, but Poppin fearless in the rest of these channels, knowing TSM had to be so committal to getting on side, especially with this barrier orb on the back hall. He'll quickly deal with that as Ion breaks his way through. And Envy make their climb. Ion, good for the opener. Down the steps they trollops. Double crunch on the swing. It is gorgeous by Ion. 3 for the kid.
He finds his single timing. He's the one breaking the wall, let him know, yo, I'm over here. Come at me, bro. And he just goes out for these taps down the staircase and opens up the site. Poppy wasn't even needed. I don't even think he was waiting for a recon dart. I don't even know if I saw one into the site as Ion just kills everybody on that retake. We were overzealous a bit trying to go for the execute for TSM, running with her util out, just trying to wall up towards that spawn. So that tuck in towards that logs was huge for Inspire, but thankfully we had numbers for TSM to trade that out until this happens. You were in position for all these trades. If Poppin' Canes was actually a food chain, I'd buy that over Raisin Canes. But this is a stalemate once again for TSM. After hearing the roar of the Ares towards B main, they decide to stop themselves in the track, and really, it's hard for them to take map control. Nobody's on the right side of the map. The alarm bot's going to get sounded here by Alvin Boy. Unless, now that he spots it, he's going to need his teammates to make some noise towards that B main.
Great skirting for Inspire to at least get a little bit spooked, but can't do any damage beyond that. Everybody gets broken down on the entryway. You really just need that smoke and the slightly better guns, and a round like that's trivial, so it makes it all the more important that Envy got that pistol to start. Once again, Kane trying to go that one way on A's opener. Seeing how greedy he can be with it. Smoke dropped onto Eggster, finds the op shot, but whips it. Kane entering with the Saturate. It's got to be here or now, and the Saturate finds both, but Vora can restabilize, and TSM has managed to set up shop onto site. Poppin's here, though. Timo warps that spacing however he needs to. The updraft with the shorty. Sure, buddy. However you see fit. 2v3 on the retake as Eggster is still holding close to this operator, and Inspire has actually kind of legged it over this barrier orb to make his way to tree a little bit early. Eggster coming away with the frag onto Timo, and Vora has had to pocket himself on top of this door now that the spray onto the tree has been given, but it'll be the double peek from that tree door. So Vora having the close angle, the turret's not going to catch him, and Alvin Boy a long ways, ready to catch the first dry contact. This operator still dangerous, and Vora not checking! Turns back to heaven and opens the stage for Envy yet again. Eggster the peak, Inspire the finish. And Envy come away with that defensive round.
I don't understand why we kept looking back there for Vora at the top of heaven.
Having to start from the beginning. And yet, blades are open. Drone is out. A is open. TSM's in. Timo's free. Ion counteracts. Timo's got a frag. First blade connects. Second one's flash. Kane in the meantime with this judge. And the Saturate's timing is perfect. He's clip farming in Ascension Grand Finals. I'll give him one more. Oh, come on. Distasteful. Envy continues to feast.
Toying with them, I fully respect this because you're finding information. You're going for the recall.
Ion, presence in hell is found and not cared about! Ion! It's 3 for him again! The Wonderkin sets the stage! 7, forced to hop on site. Not much time to be able to work with, and now the convergent paths to finalize! Kane gives open season to Inspire as he grabs his own rifle. The lockdown fully bursting away. Alvin Boy has to come up short. For one, he is good. Has to track down Inspire with 15 seconds to go, and the spike completely left. So many universes in which this is so cooked. The sightline is met. Alvin Boy wins it! And TSM holds on for dear life here on Ascent.
And you can't forget Alvin Boy in these scenarios, even if you have the most confidence in Kane Zero on how you're retaking these sites, how much damage you're doing.
They just keep fighting. And TSM continues to fight back from down. And yet Envy continues extending, continues climbing, creeping. Vora at least holds down that opening frag, but Eggster begging to find the next one. A free rifle right in front of him. That's a trade up he'd love, but no proper opening. And Ion, held up in wine, would potentially give himself away, letting this smoke fly depending on how far up GMD is lurked. Still though, TSM looking for some extra neutrality in this 4v4.
They still have to up the tempo though for TSM. They've been really close down to the wire that previous round. If they do that again, it's checkmated by Poppin's ult. So already you're trying to push Inspire away from this B main line. Don't have a drone to work with. Nexter somehow gets value here on this catwalk. That's gonna force the rush into B, and yeah, Vora solo now.
It's so easy for them, dude. They just waited and waited and waited and waited and waited, and they got walked into.
On how TSM's approaching their attack side, going with an instant smoke in the front of the B site so that the players could really scale up and take control here of that B main. Interesting look, as usually that's a defensive side smoke that you kind of want to throw here on your end. But it really, once again, puts TSM into some sort of a stalemate. When these rounds are very, very quiet, TSM haven't really had scenarios where they're able to move up and break util and force these rotates. You are now grouping up to go into a pop. But the three players are pretty much ready here towards B. It's going to be off this turret from Inspire, who's going to pop off these nanostorms to stall. And Poppin needs to find a good position. I don't think he's in the best spots to be able to leverage the Hunter's Fury. So he'll have to use his gun.
Yeah, it'll have to be the gunplay. No wall boost either that Inspire was looking to meet on the approach. It's all through all through B main. But Inspire has to back the Boathouse and finds 3! What a last flick! And he'll find the final one as well. A reactivation round for the ages for Inspire.
That was beautiful. Didn't even notice that they had the convergence path available for Kane Zero on top of that. So despite the Owl Drone coming out and him being fully exposed, being popping, it still allowed Kane Zero to get good value, and get that with the convergence path. And for Inspire to be in range where he's not going to get affected by the convergence path, but that slorb from 7 was perfect here, not allowing the double flood to happen from the top. So Inspire was kind of left on an island after the first kill, gets traded out, and the 3 players could fight back for TSM. Now a change of pace though, a full aggression for TSM on the A side hit. Both players though that could do some damage are inside that site for Ion and Kane.
They've already been able to fully clear this out, and the read onto where GMD is TP'd. All the meanwhile, Ion is holding court on site and does it all by himself, despite the fact that Envy's all here. It is another complete smackdown on site the other way. I mean, the double positioning for that takeover was perfectly managed. The Hunter's Fury for the corner that GMD went to, and then the almost instant turn to the Jenny corner that Timotino tried to breach.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the pathing when you're trying to do these hits, right? What's the most basic pathing you're gonna have with the jet? Cloud burst, dash into it, try to fight around the dice, especially when you're throwing a sight smoke from Omen. You're trying to dance around the right side of the boxes. I'm pretty sure there was a saturate being thrown at that spot at the same time around the Hunter's Fury. So those players on the back of the site couldn't do anything. And if the saturate wasn't in the back of the site, it was probably towards the front to even isolate the other players pushing forward. Didn't really necessarily was able to see it at that side. We'll have to check the replay after that, but that was just a good stall coming in from both players on that side. Again, Ion and Kane. Making it doable now for Envy to close out this series with such a strong hold. But TSM, if they could muster up this last round right here, they would still have a pretty decent look going into the second half.
Yeah, playing for 7-5 is definitely not something that TSM is going to complain about. Not something they really can complain about. You're running out of options here. And Envy have so many ways to reapproach this round, especially with that lock. There's a little bit of damage done by Alvin Boy with the backstab that won't be met, so TSM have a little bit of an advantage with the damage pool.
Yeah, and keeping Extra alive with 18 HP is still dangerous, as they have to play the Flood retake. They're going to play into the unknown, retaking towards the B site. The question marks on B main, question mark on Wine. They need this recon to come back up here for the retake for Vora, and they have it with the Slorbs to retake.
Kainzera's looking for a way to stick this fork in with his light speed. That's the one fulcrum point of util that this team has. Otherwise, it's just blindly firing. And the smokes that are set up early on here do give Envy a lot of room and time to work with as Kane continues to blue ball TSM circling from the backside. And he'll kill the one who tries to approach it. They've got to make their way on, and they just don't have the time or players to do it. Voro, the only one standing against the crowd, and he barely makes any headway. Envy will continue thwarting on the pistol, and it's now 5 rounds away from an Ascension title.
And that's the issue that you have for TSM trying to flood back into site with no util.
Way on, and they just don't have the time or players to do it. Voro, the only one standing against the crowd, and he barely makes any headway. Envy will continue thwarting on the pistol, and it's now 5 rounds away from an Ascension title.
And that's the issue that you have for TSM trying to flood back into site with no util. A recon and slower, so no flash to get value off a recon flash for TSM to get any idea of where their opponents are playing from. And again, because of the question marks we created unintentionally for the side of TSM with no B-side control at the beginning, well, you have to re-clear it. So GMD goes for the big flank. There are only 4 players trying to retake that site. You snuck through towards that spawn for Kane Zera, and you kept 2 players at bay. If anything, time was of the essence that it could probably win with.
Making rounds a guarantee. That's what Envy would like to do here. And Kane, not even the biggest threat with this Judge, though he's going to make it seem that way before he has to inevitably recall back. He'll still find Voro before having to press it. And this is the kind of domination Envy want to escape this with, the kind of image they want to plaster over Americas. Still so much room to go. TSM will relent here and clock in for the long haul, starting with their rifle round.
And you're seeing from the last 2 rounds, Envy staying as a group and just...
Okay. Already recalled, already crunched. Paranoia won't catch him, but the flash will, and Envy is fully in. Now, they've met them in wine, though, and Timo comes away with 3, swinging out. Still kicking it on the Cloudburst. He gets a reset, but Ion and Poppin can stop that. Turn it back into a 2v2 entering the site, and that is massive for Envy already. Holding on to these rifles and grabbing some of their own. They potentially flip this round here and now. Could completely shatter this match. Early entry from Alvin Boy, pops out from the smoke, sprays through the Jenny, does a hell of a lot of damage to Poppin, and Alvin Boy finishes it. Now the swing from on high, Ion turns into a 1v1 and finalizes! Nothing to lose, everything to gain!
Ion once again, another clutch coming through, a 4K in the round.
Potentially the one variable we were still questioning at this point, of if he is fully here, fully activated. And he has saved this team a multitude of times. Now escorting the entryway onto the A site. Pop in the opener, Kane Zera. The bobby pin against this eco that TSM will swarm back to A site with.
This is insane how we got into the site now for Envy. I mean, this is still a half buyout for TSM, trying to keep money afloat so they can afford the operator out of Team Matino as soon as possible. But man, was that entry aggressive for Envy. We continue to jump through to get that kill.
Jumping into his own smoke. Ion is here to have fun at this point. And Envy continue to lay waste. Nothing doing on that entry. And TSM might have just one more proper chance with a full kit to be able to save themselves.
Crazy thing too is when Roy was mentioning a lot of the rounds were in successes for TSM on the attack side, though defense, you're still playing double Senti. They could still be a composition that could stall well, especially with the Sage on these aggressive hits coming through from Envy, who continuously go for these 4-1 pops, these 5-0 pops. A TP towards the back spawn. They've sandwiched TSM this round.
Yeah, Ion can't be as easily punished this time. The Hunter's Fury from Pop inside as well, and it's a total flood onto the A site. How do you even expect to match something to that? Timo and 7 at least get their frags, and 7 still kicking with the help of this door frame. But he is so crunched and so dead. Envy already rise up to the occasion. Ion once again frontlining and once again dominating. Another 4K for the Wonderkins. And it's 7 rounds of match point for Envy.
The TP once again is the backstab. Not once again, but at least Ion defense to dismantle the economy one more time. TSM has to play with Blade Storms now, and Envy goes for the plow into the B site.
Trying to stick that dagger early. Vora trying to play Universal with that Hunter's Fury, and he'll do some chip, but not the kill. Inspire gets that first frag on her, and will now split the board again for TSM as the drone does the same on site. Alvin and 7 are packed, watched, littered, not killed yet. Envy reset, and that's allowed time for Vora to get back to the market. Kane on the mid pick. A big fight here that Vora wins. And now they can reallocate to the front lines. But Exter still made his way around the site, and Ion still good on this front line. He can distract, he can smoke, he can let this second stepper come forward from Exter and go for the full-blown crunch in the 3v2. Are you feeling inspired? Alvin's watching, Alvin's not waiting. A 3v1, Vora against the world, the first of what would be many times, and he can't even hold a candle. It's done. Retire. Enter the game for the very first time. It doesn't matter where they go. It doesn't matter how they do it. Envy do it because they can. They're your Ascension Americas champions.
A great series being fought by Envy. You can see how much it means it for somebody like Inspire, who's been grinding this game since its entry, who felt like he was shafted when he joined into 100 Thieves for maybe like, what, 2 games, and then had to potentially just play stream. and realizes now through his ranked games the potential of so many of these youngsters that he played with in the ranked teams, decided to make a team with so many of them, and now rises to the occasion right here. Signed by Envy as the rankers, coming in through the open qualifiers of Stage 3 split of 2024. And now they ascend to partnership. Tenrake, you can see how much this means as well for GMD. The friendship between Inspire and him. And GMD also is another one of those players that has...
We've seen it before at Champions in Paris and here in Sao Paulo. North American confidence breeds champions, and another one stands atop the world today. Envy are your newest and final VCT 2026 team.
This also means so much to Hastro, who has regained the brand of Envy in the last couple of months. And to see that his team has ascended, to see that his other divisions are also thriving, means a lot to him as an owner. But look at how much it means to these players. Look at Eggster, just the nice. They've been having fun throughout this whole tournament. Even coming in as the rankers in that last split of last year. I don't even think that they themselves thought that it would get to this moment, that they just wanted to band up and play and see where it brings us.